Hello everyone, Silent here, and welcome back to another episode of Bug Rock of the Week. We all know that there are many parity differences between Minecraft's Bedrock and Java Edition, and last week I talked about 6 features that Java Edition does better, but today we are flipping the script and taking a look at 6 features that Bedrock Edition does way better than Java. We are going to be excluding all of the major parity differences such as multiplayer and crossplay, RTX, and experimental features, etc, because all of those have been absolutely talked to death, including by myself. So I hope that you enjoy this video, and let's hop into it. One of the main features that Bedrock Edition does better than Java is movable tile entities. The fact that we can push barrels and brewing stands and furnaces and blast furnaces and smokers and chests and trap chests and droppers and hoppers and dispensers and conduits. Conduits are a tile entity, but it's also a really cool thing that you can move. We can push and pull all of these things with pistons, and this allows us to do some really fun things, such as rotating storage systems, flying machines with dispensers, rotating auto brewers, and just movable furnace arrays. All kinds of amazing things can be done with this one feature, and it's something that Java Edition really desperately needs because it just adds like tens of thousands of new different contraptions and fun things that you can do. Now, there's 4 things that you can't move on Bedrock Edition. You know, 3 of these are made out of obsidian, and 1 of these is just kind of weird that you can't move. So, yeah, that's just all there is to it. I believe the carpet mod on Java Edition has actually made it so that these things are movable, or at least they select a few of them. I'm not really up to date with any of that. Now, something that's really interesting about this is the fact that if they do add movable dispensers to Java Edition, then we'll likely see the removal of the TNT duplication bug from Java Edition. Mojang already has a fix for TNT duplication. They've already removed it like once or twice, I believe, and they're just kind of waiting on a better solution to the problem of like quarries and tunnel bores and all of that good stuff. So with the addition of movable tile entities, Java Edition's gonna have to, well, you know, not rely on TNT duplicators as much anymore. Now let's talk scaffolding, everyone's most or least favorite block. This thing has quite a few differences between Bedrock Edition and Java Edition. Now on Bedrock Edition, it mostly comes to the placement of these things. So, for example, if you want to extend this line of scaffolding further, you have to stand on the edge and either like look at the very edge of the block, which isn't really that practical and it's a little bit slow, or you can edge place, which is a Bedrock Edition exclusive feature. Now, oftentimes when you're doing this, you're going to walk too far off the edge and kind of fall off the edge. Sort of like when you're doing that, you'll just kind of fall down. Falling off your scaffolding isn't really that nice, so it kind of forces you to go a little bit slower when you're building with this stuff. Now, you'll also notice that the scaffolding between beams right here only has the top layer that you can stand on. You can't stand on the lower layer. So let's head over to Java Edition for just a moment. Now, as you can see, we have 2 pillars and a beam going across. You can stand on the top of the scaffolding and on the bottom of it as well. Simply by crouching, you will go down a layer, and this is actually a really nice little feature. It allows you a little bit more flexibility when it comes to your scaffolding. Java Edition also has a little bit of special placements as well. So you can simply look at the edge of a scaffolding and then right click, and that will extend a bridge going out, and then if you keep on clicking on that, it will continue placing them downwards and they will fall into a new pillar. The result of this is that you can build up a new pillar really easily, and you can simply run along this edge holding down right click, and you'll see exactly where the scaffolding falls down, which is actually a rather useful feature once you get used to it. However, that being said, if you try and click directly on the side of scaffolding, it's going to build directly upwards, so you have to actually shift click on the side of that to extend it to the side, which does take a little bit of getting used to coming from Bedrock Edition. One very nice thing about Bedrock Edition scaffolding, though, is you can just place it directly on the side of it without having to crouch, which means that you can build this stuff a little bit quicker, and overall it's just a little bit more intuitive when you're trying to place this stuff. If you tried to place it like this on Java Edition, it would just start building directly upwards. If you want to build directly directly upwards on Bedrock Edition, you just gotta look at the ground, and then you can start spamming it, and it'll make a whole tower going upwards. There's definitely pros and cons to be found on Bedrock and Java Edition when it comes to the scaffolding, and hopefully we can see some nice refinements to both of these systems and a little bit of parity in this area. Another area where Bedrock Edition definitely wins and Java needs to catch up is cauldrons. You can do a lot of cool things with cauldrons, such as putting potions into the cauldrons in different levels even. So every potion that you put into a cauldron is actually going to have its own unique color that corresponds to the potion, which allows you to do all kinds of really neat color coding and stuff like this. As you can tell, it's actually a pretty neat little thing. Now, you can put like 3 different potions into a cauldron. As you can see, that's 1 layer, 2 layers, and 3 layers, and then you can actually take the potions back out of the cauldron again by clicking on it with a bottle, as you can see there. Now, a really neat feature of this is the fact that if you click on a cauldron with 1 potion, you can then click on that cauldron again with 16 arrows and get yourself 16 tipped arrows, as you can see there. Really, really neat. Now, you can do this again with 2 layers of potions and get yourself another 32 tipped arrows. As you can see, we now have 48. But this is way more powerful because if you put 3 layers of potion in there, click on that with a stack of arrows, you'll actually get a full 64 arrows. So crafting tipped arrows is so much easier on Bedrock Edition than it is on Java, and it doesn't even require any Dragon's Breath at all. It is an absolute win for Bedrock, and something that I feel Java Edition players would really benefit from having. A nice little quirk of this system is that the cauldron remembers exactly what kind of potion you put into it, and when you put in a potion of no matter what kind, you're actually going to get the bottle back. So if we click on this one with a splash potion, we get an extra bottle. If we click on this one with a lingering potion, we get our bottle back, and then we can pick that up and it'll return to its splash potion and lingering potion state, as you can see here. Actually quite cool. And of course, let's not forget about the fact that you can fill a cauldron up with water and then you can dye that water a different color as well, which is also a pretty neat feature. And of course, this is also how you go about dyeing your different kinds of leather armor. The system of cauldron dyeing has a couple of pros and cons to it. For example, on Bedrock Edition, I don't believe you can get very fine mixed colors. You can only have like a single color on your leather armor. As you can see, it just switches and flops from one color to another. And if we put this into a crafting table, you'll notice that we can't add or remove any dyes from it or change its color in the slightest. Whereas if we are on Java Edition, we can't do anything with these cauldrons to change their colors, and we can't click on them with the leather armor. However, what we can do is put the leather armor into a crafting table and then change its color that way. As you can see, it's now blue, and we can even add like a little bit of orange to this cap to make a nice blended color. So there's a lot more that you can do with the armor colors on Java Edition, and I'll put up a little graph on screen right now just to show you the power of dyeing leather armor on Java. I would be a little bit amiss if I didn't mention the fact that we have a small amount of parity on this front. Bedrock Edition has had the lava cauldron for a very, very long time, and Java Edition just got this with 1.17. However, that's kind of necessary parity because, of course, 1.17 adds the ability to farm lava with the dripstone. Just thinking about this, how cool would it be if we could put the Dragon's Breath or Experience bottles into cauldrons? Why don't we have this? That would look amazing. Imagine like a purpley bubbly bath or like a green bubbly bath. Dude, that would allow for so many cool witch builds, wouldn't it? Bedrock Edition has another very nice exclusive feature in that we have Trident Killers. Whenever you throw a trident, it can land on the ground, hit an infinite number of mobs, give you experience from every mob that it kills, and if you hold a looting sword, it'll also apply the looting effect to everything that it kills as well. Not only that, it never takes durability damage, it never despawns, it never dies. It can also use the impaling effect if the mob is in water, and it can also use the channeling effect if there is sky access and a thunderstorm. Overall, Trident Killers are actually insanely overpowered, and I love them so much. They have completely revolutionized Bedrock Edition mob farms in every way imaginable. Without these things, Bedrock Bedrock mob farms would not be nearly as powerful as you might expect. So as you can see, we're holding a looting 255 sword, and that is going to give us like multiple stacks of gunpowder from a single creeper, proving that the looting effect does carry over. This is a very simple system to take advantage of. There is 1,012 different ways to design Trident Killers. This is also pretty balanced as well, because Tridents are kind of a difficult thing to get, especially on Java Edition. Demonstrating this on Java Edition, you can see why these don't work. If we throw a Trident, it's going to land on this block right here. However, it's never going to be able to damage another mob. As you can see, it just falls directly through that creeper. It doesn't hit them or anything like that. Testing this out with an arrow, as you can see, the arrow does actually hit the mob, so you could argue that Trident Killers should actually exist on Java Edition. It's just that maybe there's a bug that prevents them from doing so. But either way, Trident Killers are actually a bug on Bedrock Edition, but it's now considered a won't fix a bug, so who knows if it's actually going to stick around or if it'll ever be seen on Java Edition in the future. Bedrock Edition takes home another win when it comes to the armor stands. So of course, these things have a lot of vanilla features that Java Edition doesn't. First of all, they got arms! Look at those beautiful thin arms, very thin arms. So if you shift right click on these guys, you can change their position and change their pose and give them a lot of really cool things like that. And you can also interact with these guys using redstone as well to automatically change their pose. As you can see, we can click on these buttons and that will automatically change where they are facing or what pose they are using, which is actually a pretty cool little feature that does not get taken advantage of nearly enough. Armor stands are literally a redstone component on Bedrock Edition. So Bedrock Edition definitely wins when it comes to vanilla features. However, Java Edition can modify and change armor stands so much more when it comes to using commands and data packs with them. There's basically like a near infinite amount of things that you can do if you're willing to install a data pack. And last but not least, we have the Wither. And of course, on Bedrock Edition, this thing absolutely destroys the entire world. Basically, the Bedrock Edition Wither is an absolute boss and a true boss fight. It is many, many more times difficult than the Java Edition Wither, and you will die if you do not have milk, a full beacon with resistance 2, or lots of totems. Now, this guy has 300 hearts instead of the 150 of Java Edition, and as you can see, its starting explosion crater is much bigger than that of the Java Edition Wither. It's actually a little bit larger than a charged creeper even. This guy is incredibly fast, dashes all around the world, and has a 100% drop rate for every single block that it destroys, meaning that you are going to lag out when it's dashing around your world. It also explodes at half health and summons 3 Wither skeletons. It used to summon 4 even. The Wither shoots out tons of blue skulls, which will give you an insane amount of Wither too. The Wither effect lasts way longer than it does on Java Edition. As you can see, it lasts 40 seconds. That is enough to absolutely tear through you, no matter who you are or what you got on you, and that is why you need the milk or totems. As you can see, the Wither also has these insane dash attacks that will just completely destroy your world and or lag you out from the sheer amount of items that it drops on the ground. And not only that, the Wither has one last surprise for you in store when you do finally kill it. It explodes and leaves yet another massive crater. It is definitely a force to be reckoned with, and if you don't have a good strategy, you're gonna die. This Wither is also incredibly fast as well, and it will completely dash around your world. It'll get behind you, and this Wither 2 effect is not something to be messed around with. It's very deadly. If you've never fought a Bedrock Wither before and you think you're good at fighting Java Withers, come over to Bedrock Edition for a day. Try it out and see how you fare. These guys take a little bit of practice to get used to. However, I feel like, you know, we definitely need a little bit of parity on this front, and I think it would be good if the Java Wither was updated to this monstrosity. That way, everybody can suffer. Yay! Given a couple more years, Minecraft parity won't really be that big of an issue. Mojang is spending a lot of time and effort making sure that all future releases of Minecraft work perfectly on both editions and can be fully implemented on both versions of Minecraft as well. So really, we just need to give Mojang a little bit of time to correct the disparities between platforms. I do want to hear from you in the comment section. What is your favorite feature that you don't have on your platform? If you play on Java, what is a Bedrock feature that you want? And if you play on Bedrock, what is a Java feature that you want? Let me know in the comment section down below. But otherwise, that's going to do it for today's video. I hope that you have enjoyed. If you did, consider leaving a like on the video, possibly subscribe so that you don't miss future ones, and otherwise, I'll see you guys down in the comment section and in the next one. And then there was silence.